Ooh. Oh no, we started off on a bad note. This is the football show, and Ken said I have a hard out. Jim, what do you think of that?
No, just keep using terms that 4 people know about in the whole world.
That's why I said it.
That's good.
In fact, Gladwell said he was going to use this today, Jim, as a swap cast.
Yeah. Well, I was just at a restaurant and I asked for onion rings, and they said they 86'd them last week.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I never worked in a restaurant. Can you speak English? Oh, that means we don't have them anymore. Well, why don't you just say that then?
Did they have enough ketchup for you?
Yeah, they did. I didn't use it. They had plenty.
I love how everyone knows Jim Florentine's triggers in here.
I don't really even hate ketchup, but just like I saw Voss one day and Opie and Anthony putting it on his egg white omelet. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing ketchup for? He goes, I don't know. I go, what are you, a child?
Oh, that's where it came from.
Eggs. And that's where it came from. Like, you don't like ketchup? I just started thinking about it. I go, not really.
Tony, what's your thing for Jim? Go ahead.
Well, mine's usually up against it. Like, we got about a couple of minutes left. Hey, we're up against it right now with time. We got to hit the post right now. We got our legal ID.
That doesn't bother me that much. That's, radio talk. I don't know. That one doesn't really annoy me.
It's funny the ones you pick out, though. I'm just like, one day, the worst is like when I actually put a list on my Facebook of like, I forgot what it was, bands. You remember that, Jim? And you called me out on Facebook, and I felt terrible.
I know when you say, Big J's album's dropping next week. I'm like, what?
Wait, as long as we're talking about
Jim's album, I go, what'd you say? You dropping? What are you fucking? Is this 1992? You're, an old school rapper, Public Enemy.
Were you saying Gladwell?
Well, since we have Jim Florentine here, can we talk about Tony's taste in music, or is that off limits here?
No, I'm all over the place with I can listen to anything from Slayer to Barry Manilow here.
All right. Well, we focus on the Jim Blossoms, though, right?
I don't know. I don't mind it. Once in a while, you listen to stupid shit. I was listening to John Mellencamp the other day. I listened to that band Missing Persons. I used to like from the 80s. I put some shitty shit on here and there. I'm like, I just haven't heard. I put, I think it was Foreigner or Journey. I was listening to a bunch of that shit. There's this one Journey record, Raised on Radio, I like, so I put that on. So I'm guilty of it too, but not Barry Manilow. Unless I want to suck my own dick.
I only like music that is they're taking it off Spotify because of Joe Rogan.
Yeah, I know. That's lose that 6 cents for every 100,000 spins. What a rebel!
Now all the other hens on that show are calling for Spotify to remove Rogan.
They leave Michael Jackson on there, who's documented he molested kids. That's
I love the Whoopi wants to quit. She says, I'm thinking about quitting because I don't like the punishment. I mean, she already knows she's fired, so she's trying to save her face a little bit. I'm thinking of quitting. Shit.
Tim Dillon had a great tweet about that. He goes, that's all they do on The View is just talk about how people need to be canceled over what they did. And then it comes to one of them, and now they're aggravated.
Unbelievable.
Beautiful.
Well, listen.
Let's talk about.
Hey, Ken, before I want everyone to let's do the plugs first because people might tap out. Mr. Jim Florentine is back on Patreon. Go check him out there. You got bonus content. What's the handle? Can I say that?
It's Patreon, Jim Florentine, patreon.com, Jim Florentine.
And
I got it right here. I'm a new member as of last week.
I saw that. Thank you, Ken. I meant to. Thank you.
And Tony, you have a Patreon as well, right?
Yes, patreon.com/Tony Mazer. I also have a free podcast every week, and I also am a PD at a radio station, but whatever.
Gladwell, you got a plug?
I got my friends harmacyhotsauce.com. I know Ken's a subscriber to that now. I don't know if you've got it yet or not.
I have. I've used it. It's outstanding.
It's good. Which one did you get? All three or?
Yeah, no, I got the Cinco and I got to think of the other one. I've opened the Cinco. It's very good. Right. It's really, really good.
So what were you saying, Ken? I interrupt you. I wanted to get some plugs in just so in case people tap out.
No problem. I got my shows coming up. I got Richie Byrne coming down here. I got Kenny Krantz coming down here. I might even fly Chad Zumach out here. So we'll see. I was going to say we should talk about Jim Florentine's team with his ex-coach and how deep that's running. Then, of course, Dave Landau's team, that former coach, come out with the same deal, about throwing games and things like that to get a better draft. So, Jim, what do you make of all that?
He's like a bitter ex-wife, ex-girlfriend. The guy deserved to be fired. He's mad he got fired. He thought because of the color of his skin, he'd be there for 6 years because they wouldn't fire him. He didn't talk to his assistant coaches for the last 5 weeks of the season. Wouldn't talk to them. He's one of those Belichick guys, you know what I mean? Every Belichick guy that's come from Belichick has never done anything in the league as far as a head coach. They're all dicks. They get trained under Belichick, and then they go out and be head coaches, and they think they're Belichick by being a dick, being evasive. This year he wouldn't tell the press who was the offensive coordinator for the Dolphins. They had co-offensive coordinators. And they're like, well, who's calling the plays? It doesn't matter. And he wouldn't tell the press. Who gives a fuck who's calling the plays? Ooh.
And if not for Belichick sending that text message, no one would have ever known. Belichick
he was with Belichick for 15 years. He's used to cheating. That's all they did was cheat there.
Yeah.
Fucking Deflategate, with the balls, with the spying, filming practices. But then he comes here, he goes, oh, I got integrity, The owner probably did. Look, he's an old school owner from New York. Probably had a cocktail at a cocktail party. He's like, hey, man, every game you lose, we need to tank. I'll give you $100,000, laughing, ha, 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 ha. And then Brian, okay, I'm going to remember that. That's what probably happened as a joke. You know what I mean? Like the guy's been around a long time. He knows he's a billionaire. He knows business. He's not going to come out and just say that. He's not going to put it in an email or anything like that. I'm sure he just did it as a joke saying that. And, and then as far as him trying to go get Tom Brady, hey, why don't you go see if Tom Brady will play for us when he was a free agent? Remember when his contract was up in New England. He had like 2 months, and then he said, I'm leaving the Patriots. You're allowed to talk to people. Yeah, technically it's not right, but you're allowed to make some phone calls. Hey, Tom, if you want to come to the Dolphins, we're willing to have you. And that's what he tried to do. He said, hey, Brady, why don't you go talk to him? I'm not going to that party because I don't want any part of it. Was it real? But you had no problem with videotaping practices when you were at the Patriots. That was fine. But don't, it's all sour grapes. The guy started off 1-7 this year. Every year he's 0-9, 1-3, 1-7. Slow starts, fires every coach, can't get along with anybody, doesn't talk to his coaches for 5 weeks. Goes 0-6 against the Bills the 6 times they played him. The team you need to beat in that division. Got blown out 5 out of 6 times, lost every game. And whenever there was a big game he had to win to get in the playoffs, they lost 90-20 in the 2 games. He stinks. I wanted him fired. I was saying during the year, this guy's got to go. I'm glad
you
did
it.
it.
Yeah. On this program, you called for his firing a couple times.
Yeah. I don't care that he won 8 out of 9. You beat the fucking Jets. Tony Mazur's softball team could beat the fucking Jets.
and they have.
Yeah. They could beat them. So, and the Giants this year, all 3rd-string quarterbacks, the Texans, that's how they won 8 out of 9. So he's not this great coach. And usually no one gets a head coaching job as soon as they get fired. I know Andy Reid got one from the Eagles to the Chiefs, and Adam Gase tricked the Jets into hiring him after he got fired from the Dolphins. Other than that, I don't know. They usually make you sit a year or 2, get your shit together, learn your lesson, and then maybe they'll hire you again. This guy just thinks, I'm going to go get another coaching job, and he doesn't, and then he starts blowing everything up. He's a fucking crybaby.
Wasn't he in line for the Texans job, but he wanted the Giants job, and he didn't get it? Is that what was going on?
He's in, he interviewed for a bunch of jobs. Look, it's the NFL's fault they came up with this stupid Rooney rule where you have to interview a black coach, before you hire somebody. So look, they're running a fucking, a business. Whoever's the right person for the job, that's who they're going to hire. So if you think a white guy is going to be better, like Brian Daboll, they got from the Bills, hey, he's our guy. He's going to work with Daniel Jones, a shitty quarterback. look what he did with Josh Allen. This is the guy we want, instead of fucking brooding, miserable, Brian Flores, who just cares about the defense and burns every bridge and can't get along with anybody. And then they go, all right, we got to bring a black coach in. If he blows us away, then maybe reconsider. Obviously, he didn't. They go, no, we're hiring this guy. That's your number one choice. That's how you do fucking business. Yeah, you think an NFL owner that's giving away all these free agent contracts, $60 million guaranteed to a black cornerback, is going to be racist? Go, I have no problem with 70% black players on my team. I just don't want a black coach. The fuck out of here.
You forgot to say rack me.
I'm not done. He stinks. He's bitter. And now he's going to play the martyr. He's going to play the Kaepernick role. Oh, I know I'll probably never coach again, but this needs to be out there. Bullshit. The fuck out of here.
I saw something on I think it was it wasn't Schefter. I just can't think of the guy's name. On NFL Network, said that Roger Goodell was calling a couple of the teams that still had vacancies at the head coaching level, one of them being Jacksonville. Didn't he have one interview with Jacksonville right here? He had one. So. I'm trying to think it. Well, he had an interview somewhere.
The Texans. I know that.
Texans. You're right. You're right. And that job's still open. That's who Roger Goodell called. Hey, any chance of hiring him?
Right. So what? But you're not. It's just like the Netflix specials now. If you cut your dick off, you get a special. You know what I mean? If you cut your tits off, you get a special. Instead of putting the funny guys on there, the funny people. You know what I mean? So that's okay. Give Brian Flores a job, even though he doesn't deserve it. Just give him a job so we could just appease everybody. So that he sucks with the Texans, and the Texans like, you got to be fucking kidding me. You force this guy on me. You know what I mean? And now we got to suck, and we're trying to fucking make some money here and run a fucking good franchise. So that's when it gets complicated, when you do that shit. When it's a diversity hire.
Ken, that was a good question to ask Jim, because he has a lot of answers.
And I'll leave it at this because I know Chad wants to move on.
No, I don't give a fuck.
There's 37. There's 37 other coaches or 36 other coaches that signed on to this class action suit. I'd love to see their names out there. Who
are the other coaches besides?
They didn't release them, but they're guessing that the guy who was coaching
Hugh Jackson
from Detroit.
No, from the Browns.
Oh, the Browns. I'm sorry, the Browns.
Yeah, so
it was Caldwell. Caldwell was the guy in Detroit.
Caldwell.
Yeah.
The thing with the Hugh Jackson, so Hugh Jackson came out yesterday or 2 days ago. Somebody on Cameo paid $60 for him to basically say this, saying that the owner of the Browns, Jimmy Haslam, basically paid me to tank. Well, he went 3-36-1 in 2.5 seasons. So the team was really not that talented anyways, but he was actually one of the few coaches in Browns history, and since I've been alive, I did not mind when they hired him. I thought, hey, the guy actually didn't do that bad of a job with a pretty talentless roster with the Raiders. And his whole thing is that they let him go after a year because Al Davis died that year. Then he goes on to be the offensive coordinator with Marvin Lewis in Cincinnati. And you see Andy Dalton ends up becoming a Pro Bowler, and AJ Green and all these other guys. And you go, wow, he's a pretty hot candidate. They bring him here, and the guy's like he's coaching like he's retarded out there. So a lot of people were wondering, maybe he was tanking. Maybe the roster was not as bad, or the roster just sucked and he's just trying to make a name for himself right now, which I think is probably the latter here.
The guy went 3-35 in fucking 2.5 years. He was one of the worst. Chad was like, I remember after the second season, they kept him for the third season halfway through. He's like, no, they want continuity in Cleveland. I go, Chad, this guy could be the worst coach of all time. And you're going to keep him. No, they want continuity. And he was gone after like the 6th game. And then they got their shit together and they almost went to playoffs. I think that was Baker Mayfield's rookie year, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, look, some guys just aren't made to be head coaches. You get a shot. There's a ton of white guys that got shots and they only got one shot and that's it. And they're better as coordinators.
Yeah. How many times have they made that mistake with Wade Phillips? We just talked about it last week. Wade Phillips has been a head coach 3 different times and it's never worked out. But he's an amazing coordinator.
4 different times.
Look, the Giants hiring this guy, Brian Daboll. Okay, they had this guy, Joe Judge, as their coach, another New England guy who was a dick to the press with the Giants, wouldn't talk to people, fucking burning bridges, just being an asshole.
Oof.
You know, an asshole. And they got rid of him after 2 years. So you think that the Giants are going to go, oh, let's go get another Bill Belichick disciple. Another guy that's going to just be a dick to everybody, especially the New York press. Oh, yeah, that's what we want. Of course they didn't want him. But because of the NFL come up with the stupid Rooney rule, they have to interview him. Yeah, it is a sham interview. He's right about that. You know, but they're the ones who put this stupid rule in effect.
3 days before he's due to interview, he gets a text from Belichick, you know, meant for the other guy, congratulating him on getting the Giants job. Yeah, it's just, you know, and you wonder why people for years have been saying that the NFL is fixed. There's something to all that. Now I'm convinced of that because of all this bullshit. I'm convinced that the NFL is crooked and they have their favorite teams, their favorite owners, you know, so
I don't believe that. I think that
I do.
You know, Brian Dable was a hot coordinator, and he's like, okay, let me pick the team. There's basically 6 teams I could go to. The Giants is the job I want. I think I could do something with Daniel Jones. They got 2 picks in the first 10 picks of the draft this year. And I want to be on. He wanted to be out of the AFC East. He doesn't want to face Josh Allen for the next fucking 10 years. The guy's unbelievable. He's going to get his ass kicked. He's never going to win that division. Let me go to the shitty NFC East. And he figures the Giants I'll probably get the Giants job. And the Giants go, this is the guy we want. Here's our number 1. They have a board, just like a draft board. Here's our number 1 guy we want. Here's our 2. Here's our 3. So as soon as Brian Dable, the Bills are out of playoffs, we're going to interview him. We want to hire that guy.
I don't mean to change gears here too much, but just stemming off of what Kev was saying about things being fixed and Florentine talking about assholes and burning bridges. I heard some new information last night about the real reason why Tom Brady decided to retire. Did anybody else hear about this?
I did not.
What's your source? I know we're down here in Tampa, and you know
Just,
everybody.
Maybe Giselle said, I'll give you anal if you hang it up.
Well,
I would.
You would give him anal?
I'd quit in the middle of the game.
You married your ex-wife because of that.
Absolutely. Fucking.
I'd quit in the middle of the game.
I get lured in by anal. I'm a fucking sucker for it.
well, they said that Ghislaine Maxwell was going to give up Tom Brady's name, and that's why he decided to walk away before it came out.
Who was?
Ghislaine Maxwell.
Epstein Island.
Oh.
And if you can't trust Ari Shaffir, who can you trust?
Is that coming from Ari?
Yeah, off the Comedy Store podcast last night.
Oh, Jesus.
So I buy it because Tom Brady's a bum. He should have never stepped foot in Tampa. I'm glad he's gone.
A bum?
He's a bum. He's a bum. He had a good team around him for too long. What did he do here? He went to the playoffs. He went to the Super Bowl 1 time here, right?
And won it.
And won.
Yeah, 1 time.
You drinking already?
What's that?
Are you drinking already?
No, it's just I don't buy into the whole Tom Brady stuff. He should never be here. Brad Johnson is the quarterback for Tampa.
You grew up a Bucs fan, and you're still you hate him. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. It makes no sense.
I'm a Bucs fan, but I don't like to root for him.
Who would you prefer, Josh Freeman or Tom Brady?
Josh Freeman.
That's great.
God, out of those two, give me Jameis Winston back.
Doug Williams.
Oh, yeah.
I'll take Doug Williams.
Jesus.
Look, you never know. I mean, Tampa, I could see Aaron Rodgers going to Tampa.
He's
Really?
going to go to
Yeah.
Pittsburgh. He might go to Pittsburgh or Denver.
Or he could go to Tampa. Tampa's still fucking set up to win.
Watch Janine Garofalo. Watch Janine Garofalo. She's going to go to Pittsburgh.
Well, I don't know if Janine Garofalo could play in that cold weather.
Yeah.
Miami's supposed to hire the offensive coordinator from the 49ers, so they're thinking he might bring Janine down to Miami.
Well, if I'm a 40-year-old quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, why would I want to play in the cold anymore? I mean, you played your whole career there. I mean, one of the reasons why Tom Brady did come here was because of the warm weather, his age, and having all the receivers around him, all the offensive.
I don't think it matters to them that much once they play in cold weather. It's a guy that goes from warm weather to cold weather. I think that could be an issue.
That was Tua's problem, right, with Buffalo?
Well, yeah, I mean, the guy's never played in a game under 40 degrees until he got to the NFL.
Or Nashville, was it? What was it with the Titans or the?
Yeah, with the Titans, but even with Buffalo last year and stuff. Listen, the whole thing with Brian Flores too. Also, he had four offensive linemen in 3 years. His first year, he hired this guy. I forget his name. He's been a Flattery or something. He's been an offensive line coach for 15 years. He fired him the third day of training camp. He goes, yeah, you're just not working out. It's not working. He goes, what do you mean it's not working out? Yeah, you got to go. He's like, well, what do I got to do better? Nah, I just got to go. 3 offensive coordinators in 3 years, 2 defensive coordinators. No one wanted to work with him. Just fire. He was like Trump. Get rid of him. You're not an ass kisser. Get rid of him. Get rid of him. Get rid of him till you're left with just shit left. And that was another thing too. There was no continuity on the team. A new defense, a new offense every year. And the owner's like, what the fuck's wrong with this guy? Can't he get along with anyone? And he couldn't.
I know Florentine so well. He has a new enemy. This guy, Brian Flores, is his new guy. He has a scope on him because he's so honed in on this dude.
No, and then he's crying. Oh, I went to the Broncos interview and John Elway was disheveled. John Elway always looks disheveled. Yeah. He looks like he's been sleeping on the street for 40 years. Even when he was playing, he looked fucking disheveled. You know, and he's like, oh, they came in late, they were drunk, they didn't care. Yeah, okay. And then Elway just came out today and said, listen, we flew overnight to go to Providence, Rhode Island from Denver on an overnight in the middle of the night to go fucking interview because we only get a 3-hour window and we're on 2 hours sleep. Sorry if I was a little fucking disheveled, but we came all the way across the country to fucking interview you, fucking baby.
Yeah, Elway came out earlier and said they're false and defamatory. You know, just like So you get the whole story. It's making that guy Flores just look really, really shitty. Just really, really shitty.
And the guy, your mentor, the reason you got a head coach job to begin with, which you got $25 million guaranteed from the Dolphins. You throw your fucking mentor under the bus by putting his text messages out there. Now Belichick's going to have to answer that. There's going to be investigators going, how did you know that the Giants were going to hire him? Who told you? When did you know? All of this shit. Now he's involved. Belichick's got to be going, you got to be fucking kidding me. You got to be kidding me that you did this to me.
Didn't Flores play 15 seasons in New England?
Yeah, he was a coach there for 15 years.
There,
yeah. Belichick took him in at like 22 years old as an intern.
And just burned him. So does he have any chance of winning this lawsuit, or is it just him making noise?
The NFL's just going to give them money to go away. That's what they'll always just pay it off, and that's what will happen. The Texans will probably throw him the job. You know, hey, could you just throw him a job for a year or two, and then everything will calm down, and then the NFL will just make a fucking donation to Black Lives Matter. You know, maybe they'll put another sticker on the back of the helmet. You know, hire more black coaches. You know, and then everything will be fine.
They're saying hire more black coaches, hire more black general managers. You know, they've always said that the college game was kind of in some respects, some people might say a lot of respects, the feeder system for NFL coaches. And we're the college, black head coaches. We're the black athletic directors in colleges. The black college presidents. I mean, there's a whole list of things they had today out there where they're just not getting hired in those positions to where they can matriculate. Sorry, Gladwell, I didn't mean to use a big word like that. Where they can matriculate to the professional level in these positions, head coach, general manager. We're the black NFL owners, Jim.
There's 7 billionaires, 7 black billionaires in the United States. Pretty much everyone that owns a team, NFL team, is a billionaire. So if those 7 black billionaires don't want to own an NFL team, that's why you don't have a black fucking owner. There's not like the black owner's been up against it, bidding for the team, and they lost out to a white guy. They just don't go for the teams. What are you going to do? There's 12% of the population is black. So, sorry that there's not fucking out of 32 owners. There's a Muslim, Khan, in Jacksonville. I think a woman owns one of the teams. There's the other guy who's Spanish or something in Carolina. So you got 3 minority owners.
And a crazy hunk of shit in Dallas.
Ken, I think what you were trying to say is Al Campanis was correct.
Yeah. Something about the necessities, right, Tony? Remember that? The necessities.
Or Jimmy the Greek.
Well, the
Yes.
NFL has made more black millionaires than any other profession. Like I heard a statistic on that. Like it's made more black millionaires than any profession out there.
Look, I'll believe there's 100% racism in the NFL when there's an NFL team that has, out of 53 players, has 49 white guys. And they keep just signing white guys because they don't want any black players on the field, but they'll throw a few on there. And then the owner won't hire a black coach that's qualified. That's when I'll believe it. But when you're paying, $220 million in the offseason of free agents, but you're, 60 million guaranteed for a cornerback that had 3 interceptions the year before, you can't tell me you're racist. Sorry. I ain't fucking buying it.
I think Marge Schott wanted to do that one time, Jim, with the Cincinnati Reds. I think she tried to have an all-white team, but we know how that went. They forced her to sell the team. And if you look at I tell you what, if you look at the new allegations against the Washington, whatever they are, what are they? The Commodores, Commanders, whatever they are now.
They're the Redskins.
They're the Redskins, right? They're the Redskins. So more allegations came out today. I should have remembered that, Chad. I forgot that part. I forgot Jim was going to correct me on that.
You fucked up.
Yeah, I did.
It doesn't matter. Look, Daniel Snyder sold his soul. He gave up the name, and the NFL said, all right, all the other shitty shit you did, we'll sweep under the rug, but you got to give up the name, because he wasn't going to give up the name. So no matter what comes out, his wife technically owns a team, a female owning a team. So nothing's going to happen with that shit.
That's Jim. It's every time Jim moves his head, it's making the scratching noise on his earbuds.
Oh, okay.
So I guess we shouldn't put this out then, right?
Yeah, I know.
No, Tony will cut that part out.
Yeah, please cut that part out.
There's gonna be a lot of people going to complain. I got a free podcast, but there was a little scratching going on for about 40 seconds.
Yeah, just delete it. We're gonna delete this whole episode. So you don't like the Commanders?
What are you gonna do? Me and my son were just talking about it. He's like, Dad, it's unbelievable. I had to change the name. I go, look, the Braves are next, then the Indians, and then the Blackhawks.
Well, the Indians, we're the fucking Guardians.
I'm sorry, the Braves, the Chiefs, Kansas City Chiefs, and the Blackhawks. I go, once you did it once, all you got to do is give him one of them, give up a name, and then they all fucking eventually will change. If everyone just stood strong, said, fuck you, like Daniel Snyder did for 10, 15 years, then, no one's going to change their name. No, I'm not doing it.
Are they going to go after the? Are they going to go after the Packers for being homophobic, or I don't know if they're next?
What do you mean? How are they homophobic?
Yeah. What do you mean by that, Gladwell?
Yeah.
Where are we going? I don't get it.
Where are you going with that? What's the matter? You didn't sell enough Danish today, so you're all pissed off?
I had somebody putting ketchup on a cheese toast today.
Oof.
So
yeah, see, I told you about ketchup.
Yeah, it's these people should be allowed to walk amongst us.
So Tony's a lifelong Indians fan. Are you going to buy a Guardians jersey because you bought an Indians paraphernalia? Like, what are you going to do in that situation?
I was at the mall a couple of days ago, and I saw they have Guardian stuff at Lids, but they're also selling some of the Indian stuff that you can still get. So and of course, as soon as you walk in, the only people who are getting Guardian stuff are the Marvel nerds or the hyper PC people. Like, you know what? This Guardians is growing. I saw this yesterday. It was a tweet. Somebody said, Guardians is growing on me. Like, that's a Guardians Grand Slam. I'm like, who are these people? Who are you? Are you like a Twitter bot or something? Because I don't know anybody who's actually going to really enjoy this. I think what they're banking on is that it's going to be so normalized in a couple of years, people are going to forget about Indians. And they're like, look, if we just get the first couple of years, be the Guardians.
Weather the storm.
Oops, excuse me. I almost said Indians. I mean, the Guardians are taking the field today. That's, I think, what's going to happen is that they think they're going to weather the storm in the next couple of years. And it's just going to be a bunch of nerds and Marvel, Star Wars fans who are just going to the games.
Tony, you like how Major League Baseball doesn't call it the disabled list anymore. They call it the injured list.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the injured list now, because you don't want to offend people, which I said the only way that you were able to try to make disabled sound better is if you just called it the retarded list. So
no, because
the URL.
because disabled people said, hey, why are you saying disabled list? That means you can't play. We're disabled. We're still allowed to, we could still play sports. You're basically saying because we're disabled that we're not allowed to, we can't play sports, and we can. So we're offended. And they go, we're sorry. Okay, we'll call it the injured list.
Well, I'll take it a step further. I mean, not only that, do we need to worry about the disabled people with that, but why don't we have midgets and dwarfs, or little people, I should say, play? I mean, the last one was Eddie Goodell, and that was a Bill Veeck thing where he put the 1/8 jersey and gave him, and they've banned midgets and dwarfs from playing the game. I don't think that's very inclusive in baseball now.
Well, doesn't Altuve play for the Astros?
Yeah, but I think he has lifts on his shoes like he's Al Pacino.
I think they should call it the dislabeled. Shout out to Brian McCarthy.
Hooah.
By the way, did you see? Because they're still doing that in baseball. They're during their lockout right now, and baseball wants to propose universal DH and now 12 teams to make the playoffs. So you're talking about, like in basketball, half the league is either making the playoffs, and then the other half is basically tanking. So you're going to have teams that would rather tank than be that 13th team, to be that like kind of mediocre middle of the road thing. So so then baseball, it's just going to end up being Thanksgiving. We're going to see the World Series and no one's going to watch it anymore.
No, Christmas Eve, Tony. The seventh game of the World Series will be played on Christmas Eve. That's what they want.
Why not?
You know.
I'm fine with that.
You can watch it in LaGuardia Airport near you.
Yeah. Just don't fly JetBlue. Just don't fly JetBlue, jackass.
Criminal Empire. JetBlue.
What's wrong with JetBlue?
What's that?
Jim says, "What's wrong with JetBlue?"
Here we
Jim,
go.
We only have a few minutes left.
JetBlue is a criminal empire. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, I don't fly it too much because they don't really fly it in Newark. I've done it a few times on the West Coast or whatever. I just know they got TVs in the seats.
Well, that's why I like them. But when you buy a ticket to fly to Newark on one day, and they send you to LaGuardia the next day, and then lose your luggage, and then they don't want to pay you for anything, for the Anyway, I don't want to get started on this.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we're gonna do the big Super Bowl spectacular next week with Gino and Jim, and my man Ken Mosca got said from Rich Energy Solutions, $200, and we're gonna how's this gonna go, Ken?
Well, let's talk this out, because you said we're gonna have Gino. Who's gonna be on next week? I think anyone that's on this week and next week should have the opportunity to put a pick in. So it's $200 to whoever having the program, and you're picking the score, but whoever gets closest to the score, it's not just picking the spread, it gets closer to the actual score would be the winner. I was in something like this like years ago, but that's what we thought would work, but unless someone else has a better idea. So Rich Energy Solutions putting up $200 to any one of us that picks the Super Bowl winner and closest to the score.
Do we tweet our picks to Kevin Brennan, or is it over
here?
Still?
I'm not responding to that.
Yeah, that's.
Well, I don't know when you're going to do it. I'm supposed to be on a cruise next week, but I should be able to get service. If I'll put my pick in now, Bengals 26, Rams 23.
Are you going on that cruise?
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know if I'm going to have. So I don't know what day you guys are going to do it.
I got it down here, Jim.
Spectacular. What day?
Florentine is in. I have his score.
What day are you leaving for the cruise?
Either Tuesday or Wednesday. It depends. It's like
a
party thing or some shit. But I should be able to get service. But if I don't, if I'm busy, 26, 23 Bengals.
All right, I'll text you. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. I have a hard out, so I don't know if I'd be able to do it.
Let me see if I can redo my Patreon stuff.
Hey, before we get rolling, because Ken's hard out, let's talk about the games last week. The Rams and Bengals are in the Super Bowl. I mean, did anyone see the Bengals coming?
I didn't. I mean, look at what was it, mid-year? I mean, look what happened mid-year. They were struggling, weren't they? They were all kinds of trouble. Burrow had gotten hurt, if you recall. I sure as hell didn't see it coming.
Yeah, they really stepped it up with that defense. Guys like, Eli Apple, I always thought was a bum with the Giants, and
He was.
made some really big time tackles the other day, big time plays for the Bengals. Burrow's the real, here's what it is that we've kind of talked about it. Johnny Manziel was in the news ripping on Cleveland this week, and in Cleveland, we thought that Baker Mayfield is what we wanted out of Johnny Manziel, but ultimately Joe Burrow is what we wanted out of Baker Mayfield. It's kind of interesting how that's gone.
Now, with Odell Beckham going to the Super Bowl, I mean, does that make Johnny Manziel look worse because he's having some success out there, or because people are piling on him?
Manziel or Mayfield?
I'm sorry, Mayfield. My apologies.
It has nothing to look. You got a lot of weapons with the fucking Browns. And yeah, Odell Beckham's a drama queen, so he's probably not running the routes. He's fucking frustrated. I told you eventually it was going to blow up with him and Jarvis Landry on a team. Two fucking drama queens. Eventually it's going to come to a head. And then he goes to the Rams. He's got a fresh slate. He's like a chick. He's like a hot chick who's going to give you anal in the first fucking 6 weeks. And then next time you try to put it in her ass, she's going to have a fucking face on like she just drank sour milk. But she lured you in with anal. So right now, Odell is luring the Rams in with anal. He's on his best behavior. He's the fucking fun. Oh my God, this fucking chick is hot. Fun. Holy shit. I can't believe that the Browns got rid of her. She's awesome.
Every analogy is anal.
Yeah.
That's what we have to call this podcast, okay, Chad? Lured in with anal.
All right. Well,
so,
listen.
no, I mean, good for the Bengals. Look, Joe Burrow looks like fucking, he's the real deal. We'll see what happens. Andy Reid, he's famous for choking in games. That's one thing about Andy Reid. That's why I got fired from the Eagles. 4 straight championship games, lost every one, went to 1 Super Bowl with the Eagles, lost. And, he did win that one with the Chiefs, but last year they got completely fucking, out-coached against Tampa, Gladwell's favorite team, Tom Brady. And, so he's famous for fucking choking in big games, and the Chiefs choked.
How do you not, Jim, how do you not at least get 3 points going into halftime? You can blame the running back all you want, turning the wrong way. And if he was the right way, he could have scored. Get the 3 points, get the 3 points, get the hell out of there, get in the halftime. Terrible. But that's Andy Reid. There's some of the things that he does that where you end up scratching your balls. Like what the hell's he doing? What is he thinking?
Chad, who else hates Andy Reid?
You're terrible, Tony.
And look, Andy Reid's he does choke, but he is a solid coach. He'll get you to the championship game. He'll get you to the Super Bowl. So I would take him in a second.
That's everybody wants to shit on Andy Reid about not winning a Super Bowl, but Dan Marino, how many Super Bowl rings does he have?
Ooh, you're going up against the Dolphins.
Yeah, way to remind Jim Florentine of that, Gladwell. Good.
I mean, what I'm saying is,
that's good.
You could be great and not have a Super Bowl ring, though.
I think you should follow it up, Gladwell, by telling Jim how overrated Don Shula was. Why don't you follow that up with that?
Well, I'll follow it up with this. Tom Brady's overrated. He has 8 rings. Overrated. He's a bum.
He's got 7 rings there, buddy.
Whatever.
Look, there's nothing I could say. I mean, it's a team game. You gotta, Marino, they had a shit team for years, and Marino would still win at least 8 games. They go 8-8. They only had 1 losing season under Marino. Don Shula, maybe he was overrated. He won a lot of games, but he wouldn't get rid of his coaches, his assistant coaches. He kept the same guys every year. That's ultimately why he got forced out and Jimmy Johnson came in. Marino had 1 year where a guy went over 1,000 yards as a rusher. He never had a running game. And they never had a defense with Marino either. So, but yeah, he didn't win a Super Bowl. But
I don't want you to think I was shitting on Marino. I wasn't.
I don't care. I got, Marino's not my fucking, my family member. So there's nothing I can do. I'm just,
I do want to ask this before we roll out because Ken has a hard out.
What?
He has a hard out. He has to get out. What's it like being a diehard Miami Dolphins fan, growing up loving Dan Marino, and then Dan Marino becoming a fan of your comedy? How's that? What kind of mind fuck is that?
This is a question that some kid Said, I'm just starting a podcast. Could you be my first guest? My family follows me right now with 5 followers. It'd be great because then I might be able to get my podcast off the ground. Yeah, all right, I'll do it. And that's the first question they ask.
No, but seriously,
No, Chad, go back one question. Ask me how I got into comedy.
Who was your influence, Jim?
Yeah.
What's your writing style, and where do you go up?
So how was it like with the first time you went on stage? Did you know you wanted to be a comedian?
Were you nervous? Did they put the checks out on the tables before you were done your set?
Do you have like an agent that books you? Are you guys like
do you
all
travel?
Do you guys all know each other?
Do you say the N-word?
Yeah. So what do you guys do? You just like travel around, like, and just go to different places. How do you know where to go? Like, why would you play in Kenosha, Wisconsin? Like, how did you get that?
Or Cuyahoga Falls?
Shout out Cuyahoga Falls, Tony.
Yeah, that's where comedians of the compound. When, oh, by the way, Pete, we talked to him the other day, and Pete said that Gino's not allowed to do racial humor on stage. I'm not. Like, well,
So
and they
what's
locked
Gino
up the
just
liquor
gonna,
cabinet.
Gino's just going to go up and introduce the acts. That's it. He's just going to do the announcements. There's Basil coming next week. Gemini in 2 weeks. All right, here's Aaron Berg.
Johnny.
By the way, I think that's the schedule. I think you nailed it.
Johnny Lombardi, Gemini. Johnny Lombardi. What a great guy he is.
He's a good dude. He's great.
I know Johnny. I know Johnny really well. He's a great guy. He really is.
Well, Ken,
Basil's awesome too.
I'm very conscious of your heart out. So we're going to go ahead and plug it again, and then we're going to roll out next week. Next week will be the Super Bowl Spectacular. It's going to be huge. 200 big ones is on the line from Rich Energy Solutions. So you're going to want to tune into that. So sign up to the Patreon. Tony, again, your Patreon.
Patreon.com/Tony Mazer, just $5 a month.
And Jim, do you want to plug your Patreon?
No. There's too many Patreons. No.
You want to plug Ozzy's Boneyard, your show there?
There's no one watching this got a pen. Go, wait, what was his Patreon? All right, this one. And what's this one?
Do you want to plug your Twitter or Instagram? No, what about JimFlorentine.com?
Yeah, I'm going to plug it. And then when you release this, I'm going to see if I got any extra Twitter followers. It's like when you went on that local Cleveland morning show. What'd you say? One person? You got one follower?
No, I got none.
None. And that was TV. You got none?
I held up my Twitter, a sign on Twitter on New Day Cleveland or whatever the fuck, live on Lakeside, Tony.
Oh God, yeah.
I was just holding it there as I'm doing the interview, holding it, and nothing, zero. But
guys, thanks a lot, guys.
Hey, Ken, because you're going to come down, we're going to be in Fort Myers the 24th through the 26th at Laughing Comedy Cafe. You're coming down, right, Ken?
I am coming down for that. That was going to be my big surprise to Jim Florentine. So thanks for outing me.
Well, that's
I know Jim. I know Jim loves surprises.
No, that's cool. No, it'll be good. We'll have a good time hanging in Fort Myers. Fort Myers is fun. Yeah.
Yep.
No, that's awesome, man.
And if you saw this and you came to the show because you saw this, please tell Jim that you came to the show because of the football podcast.
Yeah, please do.
There it is. All right, guys. Well, listen, we'll see you next week. Thanks again. Wreck me. That's the catchphrase. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.